Hello friends, this is Garima Kuswaha from GMC Betia, Bihar. First year professional MBBS student. Today I am going to read excretory products and their elimination from NCERT class 11th biology book. Excretory product and their elimination. Animals accumulate ammonia, urea, uric acid, carbon dioxide, water and ions like sodium ion, potassium ion, chloride ion, phosphate, sulfate, etc., either by metabolic activities or by other means like excess ingestion. These substances have to be removed totally or partially. In this chapter, you will learn the mechanism of elimination of these substances with special emphasis on common nitrogenous wastes, ammonia, urea, and uric acid are the major form of nitrogenous wastes excreted by the animals. Ammonia is the most toxic form and requires large amount of water for its elimination, whereas uric acid, being the least toxic, can be removed with minimum loss of water. The process of excreting ammonia is ammonotalism. Many bonifacious aquatic amphibians and aquatic insects are ammonotelic in nature. Ammonia, as it is readily soluble, is generally excreted by diffusion across body surfaces or through gill surface in fish as ammonium ion. Kidney do not play any significant role in its removal. Terrestrial adaptations necessitated the production of lesser toxic nitrogenous wastes like urea and uric acid for conservation of water. Mammals, many terrestrial amphibians, and marine fishes mainly excrete urea and are called ureotelic animals. Ammonia produced by metabolism is converted into urea in liver by Cori cycle of these animals and released into the blood, which is filtered and excreted out by kidneys. Some amount of urea may be retained in the kidney matrix of some of these animals to maintain a desirable osmolarity. Reptiles, birds, land snails, and insects excrete nitrogenous wastes as uric acid in the form of pellet or paste with a minimum loss of water and are called uricotelic animals. A survey of animal kingdom presents a variety of excretory structures. In most of the invertebrates, these structures are simple tubular forms, whereas vertebrates have complex tubular organs called kidneys. Some of these structures are mentioned here. Protonephridia or flame cells are the excretory structures in platyhelminths, flatworms, planaria, rotifers, some annelids, and the cephalochordate Amphioxus. Protonephridia are primarily concerned with ionic and fluid volume regulation, that is osmoregulation. Nephridia are the tubular excretory structures of earthworm and other annelids. Nephridia helps to remove nitrogenous wastes and maintain a fluid and ionic balance. Malpighian tubules are the excretory structure of most of the insects, including cockroaches. Malpighian tubules helps in removal of nitrogenous wastes and osmoregulation. Antennal glands or green glands perform the excretory function in crustaceans like prawn. Human excretory system. In human, the excretory system consists of pair of kidneys, one pair of ureter or urinary bladder, and a urethra. Kidneys are reddish brown bean-shaped structures situated between the level of last thoracic and third lumbar vertebra, close to dorsal inner wall of the abdominal cavity. Each kidney of an adult human measures 10 to 12 cm in length, 5 to 7 cm in width, and 2 to 3 cm in thickness, with an average weight of 120 to 170 gram. Towards the center of the inner concave surface of the kidney is a notch called hilum, through which ureter, blood vessels, and nerves enter. Inner to hilum is a broad funnel-shaped space called renal pelvis with projections called calyxes. The outer layer kidney is a tough capsule. Inside the kidney there are two zones, an outer cortex and an inner medulla. The medulla is divided into few conical masses, medullary pyramids, projecting into the calyxes. Now the main point. The cortex extends in between the medullary pyramids as renal columns called column of Bertini. Each kidney has nearly 1 million complex tubular structures called nephrons, which are the functional unit. Each nephron has two parts, the glomerulus and the renal tubule. Glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries formed by the afferent arteriole, GA. You can learn it by glomerulus afferent arteriole, GA. A fine branch of renal artery. Blood from the glomerulus is carried away by an efferent arteriole. The renal tubule begins with a double-walled cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule, which encloses the glomerulus. Glomerulus, along with Bowman's capsule, is called the Malpighian body or renal corpuscle. The tubular continues further to form a highly coiled network, proximal convoluted tubule, PCT, a hairpin-shaped Henle's loop, the next part of the tubule, which has a descending and ascending limb. The ascending limb continues as another highly coiled tubular region called distal convoluted tubule, DCT. The DCT of many nephrons open into a straight tube called collecting duct, CT, many of which converge and open into the renal pelvis through medullary pyramids in the calyxes. The medullary corpuscle, PCT, and DCT of the nephrons are situated in the cortical region of kidneys, whereas the loop of Henle dips into the medulla. In majority of nephrons, the loop of Henle is too short and extends only very little into the medulla. Such nephrons are called cortical nephrons. Some of the nephrons, the loop of Henle is very long and runs deep into the medulla. These nephrons are called juxtamedullary nephrons. The efferent arteriole emerging from glomerulus forms a fine capillary network around the renal tubule called peritubular capillaries. A minute vessel of this network runs parallel to the Henle's loop, forming a U-shaped vasa recta. Vasa recta is absent or highly reduced in cortical nephrons. Urine formation. Urine formation involves three main processes, namely glomerular filtration, reabsorption, and secretion, that takes place in different parts of the nephron. The first step in urine formation is the filtration of blood, which is carried out by glomerulus and is called glomerular filtration. On an average, 1100 to 1200 ml of blood is filtered by the kidney per minute, which is constitute roughly 1/5 of the blood pumped by each ventricles of the heart in a minute. 5 liter of blood is pumped by the ventricles per minute. The glomerular capillary blood pressure causes filtration of blood through three layers, that is endothelium of glomerular blood vessels, the epithelium of Bowman's capsule, and basement membrane between these two layers. The epithelial cells of Bowman's capsule, called podocytes, are arranged in an intrinsic manner so as to leave some minute spaces called filtration slits or slit pores. Blood is filtered so finely through these membranes that almost all the constituents of the plasma except the proteins pass on to the lumen of the Bowman's capsule. Therefore, it is considered as a process of ultrafiltration. The amount of filtrate formed by the kidneys per minute is called glomerular filtration rate. GFR in a healthy individual is approximately 125 ml per minute, that is 180 liter per day. The kidneys have built-in mechanism for regulation of glomerular filtration rate. One such efficient mechanism is carried out by juxtaglomerular apparatus, JGA. JGA is a special sensitive region formed by cellular modification in the distal convoluted tubule and efferent arteriole at the location of their contact. JGA equal to DCT plus efferent arteriole, and a fall in GFR can activate the JG cells to release renin, which can stimulate the glomerular blood flow and thereby the GFR back to normal. A comparison of the volume of the filtrate formed per day, 180 liter per day, with that of the urine release, 1.5 liter, suggests that nearly 99% of the filtrate has to be reabsorbed by the renal tubules. This process is called reabsorption. The tubular epithelial cells in different segments of nephron perform this either by active or passive mechanism. For example, substances like glucose, amino acids, sodium ion, etc. in the filtrate are reabsorbed actively, whereas the nitrogenous wastes are absorbed by passive transport. Reabsorption of water also occurs passively in the initial segments of the nephron. During urine formation, the tubular cells secrete substances like H+, K+, and ammonium in the filtrate. Tubular secretion is also an important step in urine formation as it helps in maintenance of ionic and acid-base balance of the body fluids. Now, functions of the tubules. Proximal convoluted tubule, PCT, is lined by simple cuboidal brass border epithelium which increases the surface area for reabsorption. Nearly all the essential nutrients and 70 to 80% of electrolytes and water are reabsorbed by this segment. PCT also helps to maintain the pH and ionic balance of the body fluids by selective secretion of hydrogen ion, ammonium and potassium ion into the filtrate and by reabsorption of bicarbonate from it. Henle's loop reabsorption is minimum in its ascending limb. However, this region plays a significant role in the maintenance of high osmolarity of medullary interstitial fluid. The descending limb of loop of Henle is permeable to water but almost impermeable to electrolyte. This concentrates the filtrate as it moves down. The ascending limb is impermeable to water but allows the transport of electrolytes actively or passively. Therefore, as the concentrated filtrate passes upward, it gets diluted due to passage of electrolyte to the medullary fluid. Now, DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Conditional reabsorption of sodium and water takes place in this segment. DCT is also capable of reabsorption of bicarbonate and selective secretion of hydrogen and potassium ions and NH3 to maintain the pH and sodium potassium balance in blood. Collecting duct CT. This long duct extends from cortex of the kidney to the inner part of the medulla. Large amount of water could be reabsorbed from this region to produce a concentrated urine. These segments allow passage of small amounts of urea into the medullary interstitium to keep up the osmolarity. It also plays a role in maintenance of pH and ionic balance of blood by the selective secretion of hydrogen ion and potassium ion. Mechanism of concentration of the filtrate. Mammals have the ability to produce concentrated urine. The Henle's loop and vasa recta plays a significant role in this. The flow of filtrate in the two limbs of Henle's loop is in opposite direction and thus forms a counter current. The flow of blood through the two limbs of vasa recta is also in counter current pattern. The proximity between the Henle's and vasa recta as well as the counter current in them helps in maintaining and increasing osmolarity towards the inner medullary interstitium, that is from 300 mole osmomole per liter in the cortex to about 1200 milliosmomole per liter in the inner medulla. This gradient is mainly caused by NaCl and urea. NaCl is transported by the ascending limb of Henle, which is exchanged with the descending limb of vasa recta. NaCl is returned to the interstitium by the ascending portion of the vasa recta. Similarly, small amount of urea enters the thin segment of the ascending limb of Henle's loop, which is transported back to the interstitium by the collecting tubule. The above described transport of substance facilitated by the spatial arrangement of Henle's loop and vasa recta is called counter current mechanism. This mechanism helps to maintain concentration gradient in the medullary interstitium. Presence of such interstitial gradient helps in an easy passage of water from the collecting tubule, thereby concentrating the filtrate urine. Human kidneys can produce urine nearly 4 times concentrated than the initial filtrate formed. Regulation of kidney function. The functioning of the kidney is efficiently monitored and regulated by hormonal feedback mechanisms involving the hypothalamus, JGA, to a certain extent the heart. Osmoreceptors in the body are activated by changes in blood volume, blood fluid volume, and ionic concentration. An excess loss of fluid from the body can activate these receptors, which stimulate the hypothalamus to release ADH or vasopressin, antidiuretic hormone, from the neurohypophysis or posterior pituitary. ADH facilitates water reabsorption from latter parts of the tubule, thereby preventing diuresis. An increase in body fluid volume can switch off the osmoreceptors and suppress the ADH release. To complement the feedback, ADH can also affect the kidney function by its constrictory effect on blood vessels. This causes an increase in blood pressure. An increase in blood pressure can increase the glomerular blood flow and thereby the GFR. The JGA plays a complex regulatory role. A fall in glomerular blood flow, glomerular blood pressure, GFR, can activate the JG cells to release renin, which converts angiotensin in blood to angiotensin 1 and further to angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2, being a powerful vasoconstrictor, increases the glomerular blood pressure and thereby GFR. Angiotensin 2 also activates the adrenal cortex to release aldosterone. Aldosterone causes reabsorption of sodium ion and water from the distal parts of the tubule. This also leads to an increase in blood pressure and GFR. This complex mechanism is generally known as renin-angiotensin mechanism. An increase in blood flow to the arteria of the heart can cause the release of arterial natriuretic factor ANF. ANF can cause dilation of the blood vessels and thereby decrease the blood pressure. ANF mechanism thereby acts as check on the renin-angiotensin mechanism. ANF is contractory or against the RAS system. Micturition. Urine formed by the nephron is ultimately carried to the urinary bladder where it is stored till a voluntary signal is given by the central nervous system CNS. The signal is initiated by the stretching of the urinary bladder as it gets filled with urine. Transitional epitheliums are present in urinary bladder. In response, the stretch receptors on the wall of the bladder send signals to the CNS. The CNS passes on motor messages to initiate the contraction of smooth muscles of the bladder and stimulates relaxation of the urethral sphincter. Relaxation of the sphincter, urethral sphincter, and contraction of the bladder. The process of release of urine is called micturition, and the neural mechanism causing it is called micturition reflex. An adult human excretes on an average 1 to 1.5 liters of urine per day. The urine formed is a light yellow colored watery fluid which is slightly acidic pH 6 and has pH 6 and has a characteristic odor. On an average, 25 to 30 grams of urea is excreted out per day. Various conditions can affect the characteristics of urine. Analysis of urine helps in clinical diagnostic of many metabolic disorders as well as malfunctioning of the kidney. For example, presence of glucose, glycosuria, and ketone bodies, ketonuria in urine are indicative of diabetes mellitus. Role of other organs in excretion. Other than the kidneys, lungs, liver, and skin also helps in elimination of excretory wastes. Our lungs removes large amount of CO2, approximately 200 ml per minute, and also significant quantities of water every day. Liver, the largest gland in our body, secretes bile-containing substances like bilirubin, biliverdin, cholesterol, degraded steroid hormones, vitamins, and drugs. Most of these substances ultimately pass out along with digestive wastes. The sweat and sebaceous glands in the skin can eliminate certain substances through their secretions. Sweat produced by sweat glands is a watery fluid containing NaCl, urea, and lactic acid, etc. Though the primary function of sweat is to facilitate a cooling effect on the body surface, it also helps in removal of some of the wastes mentioned above. Sebaceous gland eliminate certain substances like sterols, hydrocarbons, and waxes through sebum. This secretion provides a protective oily covering to the skin. Do you know that a small amount of nitrogenous wastes could be eliminated through saliva too? Disorders of the excretory system. Malfunctioning of kidney can lead to accumulation of urea in the blood, a condition called uremia, which is highly harmful and may lead to kidney failures. In such patients, urea can be removed by a process called hemodialysis. Blood drained from the convenient artery is pumped into a dialyzing unit after adding an anticoagulant like heparin. The unit contains a coiled cellophane tube surrounded by a dialyzing fluid having the same composition as that of plasma except the nitrogenous wastes. The porous cellophane membrane of the tube allows the passage of molecules based on concentration gradient. As nitrogenous wastes are absent in the dialyzing fluid, these substances freely move out, thereby clearing the blood. The cleared blood is pumped back to the body through a vein after adding anticoagulant to it. This method is a boon to thousands of uremic patients all over the world. Uremia means accumulation of urea in the blood. Kidney transplantation is the ultimate method in the correction of acute renal failures or kidney failures. A functioning kidney is used in transplantation from a donor, preferably a close relative, to minimize its chance of rejection by immune system of the host. Modern clinical procedures have increased the success rate of such a complicated technique. T lymphocytes acts in graft rejection, cell-mediated immunity, cyclosporin A. Yes, immunosuppressant. Renal calculi, stones or insoluble mass of crystallite salt, oxalates form within the kidney. Glomerulonephritis, inflammation of glomeruli of kidney. Thanks, all the best.